The news of Queen Elizabeth's II passing swept across the globe like a chilling wind, shaking the hearts of millions. Her death marked the end of an era, a reign that had endured through wars, scandals, and monumental societal changes. But to a select few, those who had spent their lives delving into the hidden threads of history and the occult, her death was not an end, but a beginning. It was the final piece in a puzzle that had been centuries in the making, orchestrated by forces far older and darker than anyone could imagine. In a modest London flat, an aging historian named Dr. Leonard Crawley sat alone, staring at his dusty collection of books and manuscripts. He had spent decades researching cryptic patterns in royal history, patterns that no one else seemed to notice or care about. But now, with the Queen's death, the pieces of the puzzle finally clicked into place. Years earlier, Crawley had stumbled upon an ancient manuscript hidden in the archives of Windsor Castle. The document, written in archaic Latin and bound in human skin, was titled Regina Ultima, the Last Queen. It described a prophecy, a series of carefully orchestrated events that would culminate in the death of the final monarch of England. What chilled Crawley most was the manuscript's claim that this death would not be natural. Instead, it would be the result of a ritual designed to unleash an unspeakable power upon the world. As he pored over the manuscript again that evening, Crawley felt the weight of the words press against his chest. The Queen's death was not a tragedy. It was a key, a signal for something far greater and far more sinister. Far from Crawley's cramped flat, in a secluded mansion deep within the Scottish Highlands, a secretive organization known as the Virus Eternum convened. The group, shrouded in secrecy for centuries, comprised politicians, aristocrats, and scholars. Their shared belief was chilling. They served a force that predated humanity itself, a being they referred to only as the Eternal. The Eternal, they believed, was the architect of history, steering the course of civilizations through monarchs and leaders. But this entity, neither god nor demon, required energy to manifest in the physical world. That energy could only be harvested from the death of a monarch whose reign symbolized stability and power. The death of Queen Elizabeth, i.e., the longest reigning monarch in British history, was the perfect catalyst. In the mansion's cavernous underground chamber, the members of the Virus Eternum stood in a circle around a massive stone altar. At its center lay an obsidian artifact, its surface inscribed with symbols that seemed to shimmer and writhe in the dim torchlight. Chanting in unison, the group invoked the Eternal, their voices a chilling harmony that echoed off the ancient walls. With her passing, the veil thins, intoned their leader, a man known only as Magnus. The gateway opens, and the age of humanity ends. While Crawley pieced together the historical clues, a young journalist named Amelia Hargrove received an anonymous tip. The message, delivered in a plain envelope with no return address, contained a single sentence: "The Queen's death is not what it seems. Meet me at St. James's Park, midnight." Against her better judgment, Amelia went. She was met by a frail man in a long coat, his face obscured by a wide-brimmed hat. He handed her a thick dossier before disappearing into the shadows. The dossier detailed an elaborate conspiracy stretching back to the 16th century. It described how the British monarchy had been manipulated by the Virus Eternum to maintain control over the populace. More disturbingly, it contained photographs of the Queen taken in her final weeks. In each image, her shadow appeared distorted, elongated unnaturally, as though something else lurked behind her. One note stood out. The ritual began long before her death. The signs are everywhere: the black ravens fleeing the Tower of London, the blood moon over Balmoral. Look closer. Driven by equal parts curiosity and dread, Amelia sought out Dr. Crawley. Together they began connecting the dots. From the fire at Windsor Castle to the Queen's unprecedented decision to remain at Balmoral during her final days, everything seemed deliberate, as though the monarchy itself had been preparing for this moment. They needed her to die in Balmoral, Crawley explained, his voice trembling. The land there is ancient, sacred. The ley lines converge beneath the castle, forming a natural conduit for something. Amelia's skepticism wavered as Crawley presented centuries of evidence maps of ley lines, transcripts of secret meetings, and testimonies from those who had mysteriously vanished after speaking out against the monarchy. Their research led them to Balmoral Castle, where they uncovered a hidden chamber beneath the estate. Inside, they found the remnants of an ancient ritual, burnt candles, arcane symbols etched into the floor, and the faint metallic smell of blood. As they delved deeper, Amelia and Crawley began experiencing strange phenomena. Shadows moved independently of their sources. Whispers filled the air, speaking in languages neither could understand. Crawley's health deteriorated rapidly, his body weakening as though something unseen was draining him. Amelia pressed on, uncovering the final horrifying truth. The Eternal wasn't just a passive force. It was alive, imprisoned beneath the earth, and the ritual at Balmoral had been designed to awaken it. In her final confrontation with Magnus, Amelia learned the full extent of the plan. The Queen's death was merely the first step. The Eternal's awakening would bring about a new era not of enlightenment, but of domination. Humanity would become enslaved to a force beyond comprehension. Magnus offered Amelia a choice. Join the Vires Aeternum and secure a place of power in the New World, or die alongside the rest of humanity. Amelia refused. With Crawley's help, she disrupted the ritual, shattering the obsidian artifact and severing the Eternal's connection to the physical world. The backlash was catastrophic. The underground chamber collapsed, burying the Vires Aeternum alive. Amelia barely escaped, dragging an unconscious Crawley to safety. The incident was reported as a minor earthquake, and the official narrative of the Queen's death remained unchanged. Though the immediate threat had been averted, Amelia knew the fight wasn't over. The Eternal's influence lingered, and remnants of the Vires Aeternum remained active, planning their next move. Crawley succumbed to his mysterious illness weeks later, leaving Amelia to continue the battle alone. She published an exposé detailing her findings, but it was dismissed as fiction, a desperate grab for attention. And so, Amelia became a lone guardian, watching the shadows for signs of the Eternal's return, knowing that the real danger was far from over. The Queen's death was just the beginning of a dark and twisted saga, one that would shape the future of humanity in ways no one could yet comprehend. Thank you for listening to my story. If you want to hear more scary stories, please like and subscribe to my channel.